documents that have responses for the speeches after the first affirmative and negative constructives. So this is for the 2AC and onward. Okay. I'll introduce ourselves. My name is Vito. I am leading a novice lab. I debated for LAMDL. I debated in LAMDL for 3 years, and here now.
Hi, good morning everyone. My name is Diana. I'm really glad that you're here. I usually coach downtown Magnets High School, but I did go to Sturmass High School. I debated for 4 years in LAMDL. Right now I do debate in college, but I do parliamentary debate. Maybe you all heard of me yesterday. But yeah, and does anyone know what a block is? No? Raise your hand if you know what a block is. Okay, perfect. So we're going to teach you what that is today and how to make it.
I'm Perez. I'm leading a novice lab here too. And I debated for LAMDL for 2 years in Bravo Medical Magnet. And then I debated 1 year in college for Cal State Fullerton. And I'm excited to teach you some blocks.
Yeah. Quick note, this is a mix of JV and novice debaters. So we're going to work with files that are common for both divisions. Just a quick note. Oh, I'm out.
Alright, so this is kind of like what our agenda is going to look like. So, does anyone know what 3 parts to an argument is? Or have you ever heard that phrase before? Raise your hand if you have. Okay, nice. So if you haven't heard about that, we're actually going to do an exercise today that walks us through that. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to give you like a little bit of an intro to what are blocks, how to actually navigate your files that you have on your phone or your laptop or even your paper files. And then after that, we're just going to move on to making another worksheet. This one's going to be more specific on how you can actually start making blocks. And then lastly, we're going to teach you how to actually use your blocks. But yeah, so stay tuned. Alright, so somebody who raised their hand, what are 3 parts to an argument? Okay, whenever I call you, just let me know what your name is, okay? So, Raquel. What's up? Raquel? Okay.
So is it all 3?
Yeah.
Claim evidence, reasoning.
Yeah. So sometimes they're labeled a little bit different, but for today, we're going to be talking about claim warrant impact, which sometimes can be referred to as what you also said, Raquel. But yeah, so there's 3 parts: claim, warrant, impact. What is a claim? Somebody give me an example of what a claim is. Don't be shy, I know it's morning. If not, I'll just pick up. Yeah.
Strawberry ice cream is the best.
What's your name again?
Angel?
Angel. Okay, Angel. Angel said strawberry ice cream is the best. Why is that a claim and not an argument? Yeah, what's your name?
My name's Precious.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's kind of what you believe. This may not necessarily be everybody else's. You're saying that this is kind of claiming. Yeah.
Okay, good. So claim is kind of like a statement, right? Or maybe in this case, it can be like an opinion. Nice. So what would be a warrant to support the claim, not the argument, the claim that strawberry ice cream is the best ice cream? This is somebody different. Yeah. What's your name?
Maria.
Maria.
You could say that it has the most, like, I don't know, the best ingredients.
Okay.
And then give examples of those ingredients.
Nice. So, I mean, I don't expect you to be an ice cream maker, but what type of ingredients, like, let's make some up. Sugar?
All natural cream.
Ooh, nice. Okay, actually, that's really good. I'm really impressed by that. Okay, so a warrant would be strawberry ice cream is the best ice cream. A warrant is going to be, well, strawberry ice cream is the best ice cream because it's made with 1, all natural cream, and then 2, what was the other one?
And like sugar.
And sugar. It has sugar, so that's why it's the best one. Let's say 3. Someone give me another reason. Why could sugar maybe be possibly a good thing?
Energy.
The sugar is going to give you energy for the whole day. So those are warrants, right? Or what does this also refer to if I'm giving you like all of these examples? Evidence, right? So think about it like that. Now you have evidence to support the claim that you made in the first part. What's an example of an impact? Or in this case, someone give me an impact. Yeah.
The world is gonna die of global extinction.
Global extinction. Oh, we're talking about ice cream now.
But
Okay,
yes,
what was your
say-
name again though?
Jasmine.
Huh?
Jasmine.
Jasmine. Okay, Jasmine.
It's an
You're like, I want to get straight into the debate stuff, huh? Okay, so yeah, that is an impact. Let's try to make it like an impact, or like you said, a reasoning for our argument that, or our claim for now, that strawberry ice cream is the best ice cream. So yeah.
Because it's good, everybody should eat it.
It's good, everybody should eat it. Okay, let's use our warrants to support our claim to make a reasoning. So you're right. I mean, yeah, it's good, everyone should eat it, but connect that to your evidence that you cited, or that we cited together.
Oh yeah, Gabby. Like, because it's made of such good ingredients, people are gonna want to eat it. Like, it's good.
Okay. And someone give me another one. Yeah.
People are not gonna die from diabetes.
But it has sugar though, right? Oh, we should have said sugar-free ice cream. Oh, okay.
What about like little kids liking it?
Okay. In the back.
Oh, Natalie, it's gonna make you happy.
Oh, okay. It's gonna make you happy. Yeah. So essentially, all of you are correct. Technically, or obviously, it can differ. But I would say if you connect it to your evidence or to the pieces of or the warrants that you cited, it makes your argument stronger, right? So somebody pull all of this together for me. Start with the claim, the warrant, and the impact for strawberry ice cream. Yeah.
Strawberry ice cream is the best because it has the best ingredients like all natural cream and cane sugar, and it's very profitable because of that.
Okay.
That's the impact. I think so.
Okay. So we all are getting there. I think the impact card is the impact step is actually like the hardest step. Or what do you all think? Like that's the one, even when we're judging, that's the one that we kind of miss, that the debaters do, right? So we're gonna actually work on that. Do you have another thing to add?
What did what they said about like, oh, sugar's good because it gives you energy?
Yeah.
Impact?
Yeah, that's a good one too. So you're right. When we cited the evidence, we were already getting to the third part. So do you want to pull this together, maybe in a different way?
Oh, like basically what she said, but just saying like, oh, and sugar's good because it gives you energy.
Okay. And then maybe we can go a step beyond, right? Why would having energy be a good thing?
Because it gets you through the day.
Okay, yeah, because it gets you, or yeah, it gets you through the day. Exactly. And then you can die of diabetes if you don't have enough sugar level, if your sugar levels are too low, right? Okay. Yeah. You had anything else?
Oh,
Okay. Yeah. So perfect. So now we're actually going to move on. We need everybody to open their. We're going to save some paper. We're actually going to do this on our. Does everyone have access to their files, specifically the Taiwan affirmative? Raise your hand if you don't have access to the files. Okay. So everyone please pull out your Taiwan affirmative. I'll wait for you all to do that.
Everyone have their file up, their Taiwan 1AC, their app file? Yeah. Yeah? Okay, great. We're going to do some exercises to get you familiar with the file and how to navigate it. So who's a 1A here? Have we already picked who's going to do the first? Okay, from previous debates or during camp, who was a 1A, the first affirmative speaker? Okay, Can anyone, from those of you who raise your hands, can you tell me, how do I get to the 1AC here? Where? Raise your hand and say, go ahead.
Go to page 8.
Go to page 8, say your name and, huh? Okay, and go to page 8 you said. These files are hyperlinked, which means that if you have the digital file, you can just click on that and it'll take you to the 1AC. Wow.
Did anyone not know that? It's okay if you didn't.
Yeah, so do that. They're hyperlinked. Okay, next, if among those who raise your hand, said you're 1AC, up to where is the 1AC? Where's the end of the 1AC? What page?
15.
15? All right, there you go. Solvency. Quick quiz. What's solvency?
How do you solve
How do you
it?
solve the problem?
All right, let's one more time.
How do you solve the problem?
Great. Okay. And then you can do the same if you're looking for answers. So, or extensions. So if you want to get another piece of evidence regarding, what are the 2 advantages of the Taiwan 1AC? Anybody? 2 advantages.
Military relation.
And?
Green cooperation.
Great. And if I want to go to the green cooperation cards, more like outside of the 1AC, where would I go?
2NC, green cooperation, environment.
What page is that?
Page 22.
Boom, right there. Great. So now you all know how to navigate the file using the table of contents.
This is a really good skill to have. How many of you have been in a debate and then the negative reads this argument and you're like, oh my god, where is the answer to it? I can't find it. Has that happened to you yet? Yeah? Okay, yeah. So honestly, the hyperlink is really convenient because when you're preparing your 2AC speech, you can just go look and then you click on it and then we're going to teach you what to do next once you find it. So.
Awesome. Can you move on to the worksheet? Okay. Great. Okay. What would the what would blocks be used for? What speeches?
2NC, 1NR.
Yeah. There you go. So as per the tip over here, blocks are beneficial because they save you time so that you don't have to pick out all what we just did earlier. Where are the cards for this? Where are the cards for that? You do that before the round. And then you pick together the cards that you want to use and then you put them in a Word document. We're going to go over how to make blocks towards the end. And this is all important because preparation is half the debate, which means that the debate starts before the debate starts. So if you don't have your blocks, you're already behind. If you don't have the responses that you want, if you don't have responses already pre-compiled, then you're behind. And if you're behind, it's a lot harder to win. But also, you don't want to be reading the evidence and getting to know it in the round. You want to do that before. Writing blocks will help you understand the evidence before the round.
Is anyone confused? What is a block? Are we still, do we know kind of what it is? I know we haven't showed you exactly how to make it, but do we kind of understand the concept of what a block is? Yes or no? Yes. Raise your hand if, okay, everybody put your head down.
Put your head down.
Put your head down, put your head down, put your head down.
Or close your eyes or whatever.
Yes, put your head down. Okay. Raise up a finger, number 1, if you don't know what a block is. It's okay if you haven't learned how to make it. Raise a 2 if you think you're okay, you know what the concept of a block is.
Everyone should have at least a finger, or something up. No, don't look. Don't look.
No, I don't have to
No,
do vision, so I kind of have to get close.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, I can't see it. Okay, I see. Okay, everybody put your fingers
definition.
Alright, so okay, somebody please give me like a little quick synopsis, since I did see some of us still don't know what a block is. If you had to explain it to somebody who just joined your team, really quickly, how would you describe what a block is to them? If they say, hey Diana, I heard this term in debate, I don't understand what that means. What would you say to them? Somebody raise your hand, volunteer. You want to go first?
Oh, no, I just.
Oh, okay. Ooh, yeah.
It's like all your evidence in like organized way for you to like feed off of like what in the beginning of your debate when you're doing your speeches. It's like your organized speech.
Yeah, good. So it's like your organized speech that you're going to be reading. And where do you begin again? Where do your blocks begin? 2AC, right? Okay, so good job. All right.
Hand up.
Oh, yeah.
We can do it together, yeah.
Okay.
If you pull it up, I can like just do it.
Got it.
Yeah. All right. So everyone, now that we know how to get to our file, please go to the Taiwan affirmative, and we're actually going to go to the card that says tensions between the U.S. and China are good. Competition benefits both countries. Let me see where I got this card from. Ooh, I have a quick question. If you're looking for something in a file, how do you find it?
Control F.
Control F, right? So if you don't know what that is, try it right now. You can do Control F. I think for me it's Command F. For me it's Command F. And you can actually just type it in and find the card. So let's try doing that right now. Can you go to the Taiwan affirmative and show them how to Control F? So they can see where it's at.
Is this for novice or kids?
This is for novice.
Yeah, we're not gonna have.
You guys don't have it for novice?
No. JD has the bonus stuff.
You have it.
Everyone has Taiwan affirmative though, right?
I'm gonna pull up the word finder. So that's like if you, who's not familiar with the word finder? Or who is? Anyone know? Okay. A few people. Well, let's do it. So if you're looking for, what was the buzzword that you
The word was tensions between the U.S. and China.
Is that,
Oh, and this is for the negative file actually. Tensions between the US and China. We're looking at the wrong file. So if you can, please open the Taiwan negative case file.
I'm gonna pull up the
Actually,
word.
put the header right back here. You found it?
Yeah, it's right here. This one, yeah.
All right, everyone, my mistake. I went to the wrong file. So please open up China Taiwan negative. And then this is going to be the very first card, which is, wait, this is not it.
Question?
I don't have the neg on digital.
Oh, you don't have the neg on digital?
Yeah, she doesn't.
Really?
Oh.
Has it? Oh, okay. Does somebody here have it that we can share with?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Does anyone not have Taiwan negative? Did you file? You don't? Oh, okay. You have a paper file though, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna show. Okay, so we use the word finder to find a phrase, but that's not the card we want. So you want to press enter, enter. You know, enter the enter button. I don't know how to explain it. And it shows you the next phrase, the next place in the file that phrase pops up, and that's the card.
All right. Everyone have it up? Does anyone not have it up? Because we're gonna have to read it together, and we're gonna highlight it together. You don't have it up yet? To your email? Hey,
Raise your hand if I have a paper file. If there are people around you who don't have the files, can you please share? So, yeah, who needs a paper file? What happened? Together.
Oh, Justin, do you have a paper file or no? No? Okay. Let's see. Well, for today, we can just move over.
Share with your partner, share with your neighbor.
Yeah.
Just ask next to you. And if you need the files, please tell your lab leaders so that they can give you the paper or digital files. So, but for now, please share with your neighbors.
All right, now we're gonna do a claim or impact exercise, okay? So I really need everyone to follow along. You guys are here? Okay. So I need everyone to follow along because if you don't get this part, you're not gonna be able to write your own blocks because you're not gonna be able to know what's important from your card to extend into your other speeches, right? So we're gonna go over this together, and what I really want, or the goal of this exercise, is to be able to identify the claim, the warrant, and the impact in this card, right? Because remember, those are 3 parts to one argument. So let's go over this together, right? Who wants to be a volunteer and read the tagline? Precious, yeah.
Benefit between the U.S. and China is good. Competition benefits both countries. Erickson 19.
Perfect. Can somebody please, have you guys looked at this card? Is this your first time reading it?
Yeah.
This is the first time reading it? Okay, so it's kind of good because that means we're going to go over it and you're going to be able to identify the 3 parts to this argument, right? So who wants to read? You have to follow along because I know it can be tedious to be reading the card, but you're going to have to do this at home anyway when you debate. So somebody please read the card. Yeah. And if you can, please do it loudly so everyone can hear you.
These examples of Beijing's recalibration following pushback indicate opportunities for American counter-pressure to deter negative Chinese actions. Do I read only the underlined part?
Yeah.
When Beijing does respond, it does not automatically do so aggressively or escalate. American officials must be willing to walk away from engagements that China values more than does the United States. There are multiple engagements which the PLA prioritizes highly. For instance, that yield little for the United States. Washington can and should accept and in some cases insert friction by denying these engagements. This is particularly the case when engagements the United States values highly. U.S.-China relations are not a zero-sum game. Competitive coexistence both rejects ready agreement or disputed issues, unrealistic and inevitable drift to war, similarly unlikely given overwhelming costs and considerable shared interests. Even while differing in an important area, the United States and China maintain tremendous economic, cultural, and societal interactions. As strategic stakeholders, they share a mutual interest in humanitarian assistance and disaster relief. Anti-piracy, counterterrorism, and nuclear non-proliferation, this extensive interaction and overlapping interests distinguish U.S.-China competition from U.S.-Soviet Cold War rivalry in important respects.
Thank you so much. You said your name was Maria?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Maria. That was actually like really, really clear. So I need somebody to give me the claim that this piece of evidence is making. So at this point, I don't want you to cite like any evidence. Just really quickly, one sentence. What is the claim that this is making? Somebody new. Thank you for volunteering. Somebody give me the claim. Yeah. What's your name?
Herben.
Herben. Okay. Can you give us the claim for this?
Tension. The claim is that tensions between the U.S. and China are good.
Okay. Yeah. So honestly, I'll give you a big hint. Most of the time, like your claim is in your tagline, right? We kind of see that. However, there are times where the tagline doesn't match the evidence. Have you ever seen that before? And you're like, hey, this claim isn't adding up with the rest of the evidence, right? In this case, thankfully, it supports the evidence, right? So our claim is that tensions as of now with these between China and the United States are good because they promote competition, it helps both countries, right? So now what we're gonna do is if you have a document, go to the bottom of the card and then write claim and then write that down. So write claim and then colon. Can you guys see how we're doing at the bottom of the doc? All right, claim, colon, tensions between China and the US are good. competition is healthy? Okay, that's like our claim, right? All right, what is our warrant or our evidence to support this argument? And for this one, I need you to give me specific examples that are cited within this piece of evidence that is evidence or warrant to support the claim that we just made. One volunteer? If not, pick somebody.
Or do you all need like a minute just to scan? Yeah? You have a minute to read through?
All right, we'll give you 1 minute.
60, 59, 58. Yeah, but you knew, and then. Yeah, okay.
Oh, just making sure.
And really supports what our yeah,
Yeah, because what you're gonna do is kind of this. All right, so by now, we hope that you have found the warrant or the evidence to support the claim. I need somebody to please tell me what that is. Remember, in a debate round, if your opponent asks you, hey, what is this piece of evidence, where does it say that competition is healthy? You're not gonna be able to take like a whole minute to go find the evidence, right? Because you're gonna be like, whoa, like it's gonna be spending a lot of your process time. So now that we have read the card and you have been given a moment to check it out, what do you think the piece of evidence is? Or give me some examples to support the claim that we made that these tensions are good. If I knew your names, I would call on you guys, but... Huh? You want to go? Okay. Okay. Let's do... Oh, on this corner. Somebody volunteer from this corner, please. It's okay if you're wrong. Honestly, I know we're shy to volunteer, but it's okay to be wrong because if you don't do it, you're never going to understand. And the people who always volunteer are the people who are mostly learning, right? Because they're not afraid. They have a growth mindset and they're not afraid to be wrong, right? It's okay to be wrong, but it's not okay not to know because that's what we're learning about. So somebody please volunteer. Do you want to go? What's your name? Armando. Okay. Armando is going to step it up and let us know what is the warrant to this argument, this claim that we made.
The warrant is saying that since they have tensions, like it increases their competitiveness. So the increases some areas such as as it says in the card, interest in humanitarian assistance and disaster relief, anti-piracy, and deterrence.
Nice. That was actually perfect. That was what I was looking for, right? So Vito, if you can please highlight where it says they share mutual interest in humanitarian assistance, disaster relief, anti-piracy, counterterrorism, and nuclear proliferation, right? Those are all warrants or pieces of evidence to support what claim again? What's the claim?
That tensions are good.
That tensions are good and that tensions are healthy, right? So do you see how now we have actually pinpointed something in the evidence that supports our claim. So once you have that, you see how Vito already went to the warrant and kind of placed it there? One, Vito highlighted it, and then what we did was we actually copied and pasted it. But if you really wanted to, you can also just write a little list. Mutual interest, humanitarian, resistance, disaster relief, anti-piracy, counterterrorism, nuclear proliferation. Does that make sense? So if your opponent were to ask you, hey Diana, what is this piece of, where is the evidence to support your argument that the tensions are actually good? You would be able to give them a specific list of these are the pieces of evidence, right? One thing I also want to note, you might have seen this term in your 1AC. What is a laundry list? It's in your impact cards. Maybe you heard this term. It's like, this is a laundry, I think it's in your impact, and it talks about environmental cooperation. It says, the tag is something like, there is a laundry list of disasters that can happen. Does everyone know what a laundry list means? A long list, yeah, you're correct. Basically, this is a laundry list of examples of what could happen if they're not cooperating, right? If the tensions are good. Okay. So does that make sense? Something I want to do also is, can you scroll a little bit up, please? What is a zero-sum game? That's kind of like a debate term that is thrown out there, right? Yeah. What's your name?
Eric.
Oh, Eric. I can't see that. I can't see that far. Sorry. Go for it.
So it's basically there's two opponents. One wins, they gain a point. The other one loses a point. So if they add score, it's 0. If they
Perfect.
go tie, it's 0-0. So the score is 0.
Yeah, correct. So basically, a zero-sum game is this is referred to as like game theory, and what that basically means is that there's a winner and there's a loser of a game. So if in this instance we're saying U.S.-China relations are not a zero-sum game, what does that mean, or what does that indicate?
That they see both benefits.
Yeah, that they can both benefit, and that there's not this competition. There's not this competition where one of them is going to result as a loser, one of them is going to be the winner, right? So this argument is now we're making the argument that, hey, not only is this not a game where there's a winner and loser, but that also proves that this competition is really healthy. Now, somebody give me the impact to this. Impact.
In other words, why does it matter that China and the US have a healthy competitive relationship? Why is that important? State your name, please. What's your name, please?
My name's Amy.
Amy?
I feel like that adds like a trust factor into their relationship, so therefore they're able to work on other projects and stuff like that. So like they have no tension between them.
Also to not start a war.
Not to start a war? Okay, yeah, good. Both of you, everyone is correct. So, do you see why this is now a whole argument versus just saying, oh, China-US relations are good? It's like, okay, but where's your evidence to support that? And what is the reasoning, like you said? Another thing I would note is at the bottom, it also says, this extensive interaction and overlapping interests distinguish U.S.-China competition from the U.S.-Soviet Cold War rivalry in important respects. That also means that you're also making an argument that says, hey, this is not the Cold War, right? A lot of the way that these teams are going to be phrasing their arguments are like, oh my God, like these two countries are going to go to war and like this is going to happen, right? But as the negative, you're saying, hey, that's not how it's always been, right? Now it's completely different and this cooperation is actually good. So does that make sense how now here you kind of have under your card, you have a little summary or a little synopsis of what your evidence is saying or what your argument is? Yes? Okay, and you can actually use this to continue to do that to any cards that you don't understand or just cards that you want to be able to quickly summarize. This also helps you in cross-text. If your opponents are like, hey, can you point to that piece of evidence and tell me, give me the evidence to support your argument, you're not going to spend 2 minutes reading the card again, are you? You're just going to go to your claim or impact and then answer their question. So that also helps you in process. But now we're going to move on because we're going to show you how we're going to use this.
We're going to hand out a worksheet. We're going to be working on it together. you're gonna be working with your neighbors beside you to fill it in, but we're gonna be going by step by step. What this is a template for writing a block. We're gonna be using, since again this was I mentioned earlier, in this room are JV and novice debaters, so we're gonna be using a file that both of you, both JV and novice debaters are familiar with, and that's the hegemony disadvantage. So if you all could please pull out your hegemony disadvantage file and the affirmative answers to.
Then take it seriously, because when I'll be showing you all how to make this into the digital form on your laptop and making a 2AC block, this will be the most useful thing in the world.
Yeah. You all will come out of this workshop with a block. And with that block, you have a template to make other blocks. So yeah, as Eric said, take this seriously, please.
Okay, that'll work then.
Eric,
Wanna,
I couldn't see
yeah,
that
it's okay,
part.
because you typically what we do is we also
I was like,
have
what's
overviews
that?
and stuff, which you can make a sheet for questions and then transfer to the laptop.
Yes, the hegemony is that, and the app answers.
Why are you guys doing that?
Yes, both.
Good, Riley?
So pull out the disadvantage, the DA, the neg file, and then the affirmative answers. You need a copy?
Does anyone not have a worksheet?
Anyone need one? Everyone have one? Yeah, one over here, please.
Anyone else? So this one, when you look at the dummy. Are there any terms on here that don't look familiar so far? Like what?
Does everyone have a worksheet?
Everyone got one? Okay, now pull out your hegemony dissat file. Everyone get your file out. All right. Are we good to go?
We're gonna do it together.
All right, we'll start. Oh, question? Another one? Extra? Okay. Everyone got it up? Pull out your hegemony dissat file. What we're going to do right now is we're going to summarize it, just so that we know what this block will be about, so that you know what you're answering. So this will be a bit of a review, a recap of the dissat. So right now you have your this worksheet is if you're the affirmative. You have your affirmative hat on, but you're gonna take off your affirmative hat for a second. You're gonna put on your negative hat. So your negative. We're gonna summarize the disadvantage. We're gonna work together to fill this out step by step. Is there a question? Someone raise their hand. Okay. Good to go?
So even as an app, why might having a negative hat be useful for writing a block?
To get a difficult perspective.
Get a perspective and
Like what?
What type of thing?
yeah, so knowing the type of things that it would have, like their uniqueness, links, impacts, is useful for knowing how to answer them as well, right?
Also think about it like this. You're gonna be app and you're gonna be neg half the time. Right? So you're gonna need a neg block and an app block.
Alright, so someone who hasn't gone yet, what is uniqueness? First of all, what is a disadvantage? What's a disadvantage? Jill? Wait, sorry, hold on. Speak up.
Yeah, Germany will go down.
Yes, that's the argument, but in general, if you're negative, what is a disadvantage? Go ahead, Raquel.
That means that will happen if you're
Yeah, Yeah, bad things that will happen if the affirmative is passed. Okay, so what is the first part of the first part of the disset is what? And what does that mean? Status quo. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I have the hints right there anyway. So. Okay. What's happening now? What is happening now in the world of the hegemony disadvantage? Anyone? Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry. What was your name? Melissa. Melissa. Arms are being sold by whom? Who's selling arms? U.S. Selling arms. To whom? To Taiwan. Okay. What's the plan doing? What's the plan doing? Seizing. So, plan seizes arms sales. Taiwan. And what happens after this happens? Anybody? You should have your hegemony disad file next to you, so you could use that. If, according to the negative, if the affirmative stops arms sales to Taiwan, what do we lose? Why is that? What's that?
We don't have influence in this option.
Sir, what was your name?
Armando.
Armando? Armando says, oh, sorry. Lose influence where?
In this option.
Why?
Since we're not selling ours to Taiwan.
Because,
We have a presence in there.
yeah, because we're not selling arms to Taiwan. So what's the relationship between arms sales and influence? The higher the arms sales, the higher the... Great. Okay. Why does that matter? What happens if we lose that influence in the area? Anybody? Go for it, sorry. Who's, okay, they could attack us, so who will attack them? China. But how? Start a war. Why? Okay, so let's see. China might start a war. Why might they start a war?
Because they're going to be stronger.
Why will they be stronger?
Because we have nothing against them.
True enough, true. But everyone go to the table of contents in the hegemony disad file. Go to the table of contents and then look for where it says China impact. Why would China, how could China start a war? Like, what's the step between we seize arms sales to Taiwan and then China starting a war? What's the missing link there? You can look at your evidence. So we lose influence, and then China, what happens to China? Pressures.
China wants to have a Germany to hop in our spot and try and take over.
Yeah, so they'll be strong. So China might start a war because they will take over our spot. When you say spot, that implies like a strict. Anyone play chess? Right. So you have like an advantage to a position, right? So your advantage is partially determined by your position. In debate or in a policy debate, in policy discussions, there's a term for that. It's called geopolitics. This is very important because this is you're painting the picture of how China might take over if we lose influence. Okay. And then can you go, to reiterate, go to the table of contents and look for the China impact, go to that card, and let's see what it says. Why will China start attacking? Yes, go ahead. Further.
Okay. Well, one of the tags it says China is using arms sales as a foreign policy tool. If the U.S. decreases sales, China will step in and increase the global influence and expense of U.S.
Yes, that is the card. Let's have everyone go on the same page. Is everyone on that? Is everyone on that card?
This is page 21. Is anyone not there? Okay.
Okay, this is the card. Right here. Page 21. So, just summarize the point again. Precious, please repeat for all of us to hear.
The whole card.
No, just what you were saying, yeah.
It's pretty much saying if we stop selling, China is going to see that as an opportunity to increase their hegemony and take that spot so they can increase their influence globally.
Yes. So again, right? Arms sales equals influence. We take out arms sales, we take out influence. So there's an empty spot. Who's going to take over?
China.
So what are they going to start to do if we stop selling arms? What are they going to do? What's that? Start selling arms. We stop selling, they start selling. They start selling, they get influence. Does that make sense? Okay, great. Let's move back. So that's why China will take over our spot. So it's not just the literal physical position, but also the influence over countries. And then China. Okay, and then Russia, there's also an impact card that says that Russia will do the same. For efficiency's sake, it's the one right underneath the China impact card. Yeah, right here. So in a similar fashion, Russia will also step in. Russia will start selling arms if we stop. As a result, they'll gain influence in the region.
Make sure you're filling in your worksheet on your well, you all have a paper worksheet, so make sure you write it down. Also, did you guys know, like, I'm pretty sure if you heard your teachers say this, or maybe your lab leaders, but whenever you write things down, you retain your information more. So it's way better to physically write it down than type it out. Even if you know you're gonna write this on your laptop later.
Cool. So now that we've filled that out, these two scenarios here, if China or Russia starts a war, what could that lead to?
Global war.
One more time?
Global, nuclear war.
Yeah, nuclear war. I just left that empty for you all to fill in. So for you all, this is for later, but in your own time, how does China or Russia war lead to nuclear war? And that'll be the impact, the terminal impact. Terminal is meaning just the end point. This is the biggest impact, the biggest impact, the very final outcome. Okay, now we're gonna work on answering it. Oh, sorry, you want to pull it back up?
Yeah.
Okay. Do we need a second to digest this, or can we move on?
What would happen, let's say I am the one in C, and let's say I read this hegemony, this, that. Do I have to read 1 through, let's say these are all cards. Do I have to read all of these? Like, do I have to say uniqueness, link, internal link, impact, all of that? Yes or no? Yes. What would happen if I don't? What happens if I don't have enough time? Suddenly I skip the link. What would happen? Right, there's no connection. So just so that you visually see this, I know that it's kind of hard once you're in your laptop. You're like, oh, like these are just a bunch of cards. But if you think about it like this is also like a little table of contents too, because you're kind of checking off to see, oh, they have a uniqueness, they have a link, they have an internal link, they have an impact. This is the terminal impact. Does that make sense? So these are all parts of a, fill in a sentence? Block, but also just more generally, what is this called? A DA, right? So don't forget any of the parts. Yeah, we're good.
Cool. Let's move on to the next part. So go to the file that says affirmative answers to. Answers to the dissat. Pull out that one. As per the instructions, go to the file, and then we're gonna find cards, okay? But in the interest of time, we're just gonna pick the cards for you. We're gonna go through the table of contents and we're gonna look for those cards. We're gonna tell you which card to use, and then your part is gonna be the analysis, which is arguably the more important part. Because there are multiple cards that you can choose from, but we're just gonna pick from the file. Okay? Everyone have the file up, the affirmative answers to? Yes? Okay, assuming that's a yes.
Raise your hand if you don't have a follow-up yet and you need more time. Okay.
The affirmative answers to this So right now we just went over the dissat file. Now we're on the affirmative answers to dissat.
Does everyone have a copy of it or have like a file to share with somebody next to them? Yeah? Everyone got one? Got one? Got your files? Yeah? Everyone do?
Raise your hand if you are not on the affirmative answers file. To dissat. No?
Is there a question? Raise your hand.
Are you guys on the file yet or no? Eric? No? You guys got it up? Getting it up? You guys have it up? You guys have it up?
It should look like
You guys
this.
have it up?
Like share it.
Well, exactly.
You guys all struggling with the same thing?
You guys have it or no? You guys all have it? Do you guys have
Alright, everyone got it up? No? Not yet?
Maybe it's we have anything just better than perspective to talk about.
Wait, what's that? Zoom in? Yeah, we're gonna zoom in a bit. Okay, while we're waiting for everyone to get their files, we're gonna be going over offensive and defensive arguments. Question? In the back? Oh, you need a file? Okay. We'll get to you in a second.
Raise your hand in order to file. Oh,
Alright. Well, yeah, so while we're waiting for everyone to get on the same page, we're going to do a refresher. Have you all heard of offense versus defense?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, great. For those less familiar, what is a defensive argument? Sounds like you're familiar. Sorry, what's your name? Valeria? Like a no-link argument? So that's a good example, but what is it doing? Yes. Okay. So it means like you're defending yourself. Another way to say that is you're preventing the other team from scoring. So for example, if I'm saying the plan solves, what's a defensive argument to that? Plan doesn't solve. What's an offensive argument to plan solves? Plan causes war. What's the difference? Plan doesn't solve says it doesn't do good. Plan causes war says plan bad. Right? So the difference is the defense nullifies, offense creates a problem. Or if you're AF, counterplan doesn't solve is defense. Counterplan causes problems. That's offensive. Oh, that's just examples. We're gonna go over. Everyone got? Is that on the same page? Anyone still need to get to it? Okay.
Which one of those sounds like it wins you the debate?
Offense.
Right. Can you win a debate if you're just saying they don't solve, they don't do this, they don't do X?
You have to say what?
Yeah, you have to say that they're bad, and that's just a reason to reject them, right? Okay.
Yeah. So Eric brings up a good point. If you only have defense, you cannot win the debate. But offense will win you the debate, which is why it's the first set of arguments we're making. It's the first because you don't want to wait till the end to bring your best arguments. You want to put it first. Priority. You know, priority like flat rate mail, like 1-day delivery, shipping. You want it to be there. You don't want it to be the last because you might not have time. Okay. So offense means if you're negative, offense means you're proving plan is bad. Okay, from my lab, what is the role of the negative? One. Okay.
To prove that the plan
Okay, one more time. The role of the negative is to prove
the status quo is better than the plan.
and
The CP is better than the plan.
and
Disadvantages outweigh the plan.
okay, so one more time. Alright, everyone listen up. This is very important. If you're negative, your role is to prove
The status quo is better than the plan.
status quo is better than the plan. And
Counter plan is better than the plan.
and
Disadvantages outweigh the plan.
I have faith in that.
okay. So but if you're affirmative, what's the role of the affirmative? To prove that the
Plan is better than the status quo.
and
The plan is better than the counter plan.
and
And the plan outweighs the disadvantage.
there you go. Okay. So these next set of arguments will be proving since now you have your affirmative hat on, okay? You're AF. Right now you're AF. So if you're AF and you're talking about the disadvantage, you're proving that the plan outweighs the disadvantage. These next 4 arguments will be proving that the plan outweighs the disadvantage, or is yeah. Okay. So if we go to the affirmative, okay, everyone go back to the affirmative answers to that file. Everyone have it up? Does everyone have it up? Okay. What's the first argument on the in this worksheet? What's that? Someone said it. The first one on the worksheet? Non-unique. Okay, so go to the non-unique cards. Everyone can see it, right? On the table of contents, I'm gonna click non-unique evidence. Everyone can see that? I'm gonna click on it. Boom. Wow. Boom.
Really quick, is it non-unique an offensive or defensive argument? Just alone? A non-unique argument?
Just alone is defensive.
It's a defensive argument. But does everyone remember what a straight turn is? It's an offensive argument where you have a non-uniqueness combined with a late turn. And the late turn is what will make the non-unique argument offensive. So.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so to clarify, the first argument, non-unique, and second argument, link turn, they go together. And together they make up the term that Eric just mentioned, which was straight turn. This means, straight turn means, F solves this ad. These two arguments that we're gonna cover right now, non-unique and link turn, they're gonna prove F solves this ad. Okay, so go back to your everyone go to your app answers to file, and why don't we use a shorter card just in the interest of time? We're gonna use a shorter card, but that doesn't mean it's the better card. So it's up to you to pick on your own later on after this workshop which one you want to use. Right now we're going to use this one. Is that okay? Can everyone see that? Anyone need to zoom in more? Alright. Well, that's the most I can do right now. Okay. So go, we're still working on the worksheet. What's the, just fill it in. It says the tag and then the author. So write the card, right? Someone read it, someone. Anybody want to read it? Someone read it? Read it. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, read it.
Extra policy won't affect what other countries' buyers are trying to diversify. I read 28.
Great. Export policy won't affect what other countries buy. So you're affirmative, right? And what you're saying is you want to end arms sales in Taiwan. The negative says ending arms sales is bad. You're going to say ending arms sales, what? So the negative, one more time. So the negative says ending arms sales bad. This card says ending arms sales good. Oh, not necessarily.
Okay.
Not bad.
What does it mean to not have an effect on something? It won't affect other countries. What does that mean? Okay. No impact.
Right. Is everyone clear on that? So negative says arms sales will have a bad impact. This card says arms sales will not have a bad impact. Is that offense or defense? Defense. One more time. Defense. Right, because you're not necessarily winning, you're just denying the negative's argument. Okay, so let's use this. So export policy won't affect what other countries buy. Okay, so someone read the tag again.
Export policy won't affect what other countries buy. Buyers are trying to diversify.
Bessie, can
Thank you.
And who are the buyers? People? Are they people? The buyers are people?
Countries.
Countries. These are countries. And who was the author?
Alright.
Right. Okay. And now turn to your neighbor and find, you know the exercise that Diana was leading earlier? Let's do that. Find the warrant and say why the warrant explains proves the tag. Okay? So let's take like 2 minutes. You can work together.
I think
That's fine. Yours is important. Maybe adjust but no, like keep going. Maybe for the like where the I'll just keep going. You know what? That's
what I'll just do is these two.
no, obviously you make notes.
Okay, yeah, that way we can get to those slides.
at least have that's fine. And then I'll just like
Let's come back. All right. Does anyone have the warrant? Anyone have the warrant? Preferably someone new. If not, okay. Next, but Riley in the back. Okay, hey, everyone listen up, okay? Hey, everyone please listen.
I believe the warrant is at its core a policy of diversification is designed to increase leverage on the United States to retain freedom of action.
Okay, and why is that prove? Why does this? Why does this sentence prove the tag?
Because the tag is saying that export policy won't affect what other countries buy, and here it says that. Like if you look at the other underlined part, it's like continuing on at this highlighted part. It says how it like with defense export regulations. So I think that's why.
Oh, right here, defense export regulations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that part kind of makes sense. The other one kind of does.
Yeah. Great. So this sentence proves that other countries are buying from other nations are buying from other countries too. Like, just because the US stopped sales with Taiwan, that doesn't mean China or Russia is necessarily going to fill in. It's just they're already buying from those other countries, right? So the negative says other countries are going to start filling in, they're going to start selling. This card is saying other countries are already buying from other countries. Like, they're not just buying from the US. Great. And Irvin? Irvin? Go ahead.
The other one I got is Therefore, the defensive export regulations will not necessarily make much difference to the choices that these countries will make regarding the purchase of American versus non-American made weapon systems.
Perfect. So adding on to what Riley said, not only are other countries buying from China, Russia, and not just the US, it won't necessarily make other countries like stop buying from us. It won't, just because we stop selling from Taiwan doesn't change how other countries buy their arms, right? So this is important because the negative said ending arms sales is bad. This card says ending arms sales to Taiwan, not bad. Why? Other countries are buying from each other, not just the US, okay? So let's move on to the next. So other countries buying from each other, not just the US. So stopping sales to Taiwan won't affect.
Make sure you guys are, again, writing it down because what we don't want to see in your debates happen is you basically repeating the tagline and saying that that's an argument, because that's not an argument, right? So this is going to help you so that once you're in your debates, you can just look at your block that we're making on the paper. We're going to translate to, if you have a laptop, we're going to show you how to do that. But make sure you know how to write it down. That way you are not just saying the tagline over and over again, okay? So if I come around, I'm going to see your worksheets filled out, right?
Yeah?
Good.
Jen is going to come around.
Oh, it's yours. Oh, it's in there. Oh, you have two.
Okay. Okay. Do we go around and check to see like what they wrote, like for their analysis question?
You guys have it too?
All right. Let's see who's showing up. Okay. Wow. All right. Thank you. Great.
You have it too?
And you're not just writing whatever I typed out, right? That's just a guide. It's just to guide you all.
Raise your hand if you want me to check.
Charge your laptop.
So,
yeah, charge it in the back, but just don't forget.
So you have to fill this in. This
Good.
is negative. Now we're on this. So,
Make sure you'll.
Yeah.
Everyone good? Anyone need help?
yeah, cool. So like, basically, yeah, you're right. So, part, first part that we have, oh, keep your phone on. Oh, okay. No, you're good. Why don't you like, trust me, I was, they're one of my students and I couldn't see that part and I was like, what's your name? And then like, how many? So I always try to see the front part of the part because I know one of my classes. I always lose everything. So just try to stick towards the front. And then after these, you're kind of seeing this
How many classes?
Okay, let's move on Alright, let's move on to the link turn. Now again, go back to the table of contents.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're good. Oh, you have it all? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We're gonna go to link turn. Everyone on the same page, yes? I'm gonna click on it and we're gonna say wow. Wow.
Yeah. So,
yeah. We're clapping and picking up. Yeah.
card refers to the whole thing, right?
Okay.
So, it's like the whole thing that
So,
we call it card or slash.
Anyone wanna take a guess what a link turn might be?
Yeah.
Turning the link page.
Sorry?
Sorry?
And
And then,
Against the against the neg. Okay, everyone, let's regroup. So a link turn means you turn the link against the neg. In other words, if I'm saying, okay, a turn is the reverse, right? So if I say strawberry ice cream good, the turn says strawberry ice cream. Okay, the negative, yes. The negative says arm sales good, or sorry, the negative says ending arm sales bad, right? Negative says ending arm sales bad. The turn is ending arm sales good. Okay. So that's what we're trying to prove here, okay? But we're not necessarily ending it, right? We're only ending arm sales to Taiwan, which means we have fewer arm sales. So this card is going to try to argue ending or decreasing arm sales could actually increase our influence. This card just restates that, so now up to you. You gotta find a sentence or phrases that prove how decreasing arm sales can actually increase influence. Yeah, work with each other. Yeah, I was this is really That's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out right now which slides are useful at the moment. I don't know which one. Anyone got it? Still reading? Oh, we're looking at this card. Looking at this card to see how. Okay, so if the negative says it's still Taiwan. So why don't we just try these two and just opposite? this. They have this. No. They have yeah, they're open.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to open like that? Oh. Yeah, because we're all sharing the lectures with each other.
It's already set up here. One side is matches on one side, so I can make like one separate document for each. I can go back to like copy. Just like, do you have something like that?
Yeah, so but we're definitely.
Right, okay. Oh.
I know, but okay.
What do you need?
Let's have the actual website, and then so I have to make some
You want to just like a blank copy?
yes, blank copy.
Like Jeopardy and like stuff here. All right, everyone. Welcome back. Let's recollect. Okay, so for the next step, what we're actually going to do is Eric is going to teach you. Basically, right now we were doing practice work, right? We were practicing on how to analyze cards and make sure we summarize them in a way that it's an argument. It has 3 parts, correct? So now that we have that, that is actually so useful to make our block. So raise your hand if you have actually made a block before. For example, you kind of know how to navigate it on a Word document, you know how to open a Word document, things like that. Raise your hand. Okay, so there's some of us. The reason that is because we do have some JV and some novice together. So we're going to be going over how to open a new Word document while simultaneously having your file on the side to be able to see, so you can copy and paste arguments into another file. So that seems kind of tricky without visualizing it. So Eric's actually just, if you can't see or if you're too far out where you cannot see what's going on here, you have to move forward because there's no way we can show it to you on your screen. You just have to follow along right here. So if you need to do that now, please do that now.
Oh, I was also searching. And I don't know how to navigate back to the files. I'm the same.
Okay, this is go like that. What? That's all. 3 fingers.
Oh, I don't know this technology. Alright.
I'll navigate. So to wrap up this exercise, okay, this worksheet is basically a block for you all. We've already done like half the work together. Now your job is to fill in the rest.
Okay.
And you know how to navigate the files, so you know how to pick out the cards. You know how to pick out the warrant, so you know how to get the sentences and phrases that prove the tag. You all have the tools. It's up to you to put it together, okay? The argument we just made, that we just put together, the 2 parts, non-unique and link turn, all that's doing, end result is AF solves for the disadvantage, okay? Next says you cause a disadvantage, affirmative says we solve that. We actually increase influence by decreasing arm sets. Now let's move on to how to put together a block.
So first we'll go over really briefly the structure of a block, then we'll actually physically make one in the virtual Word document. So the worksheet you have right now is really useful, and all we're going to do is just transfer it onto paper. So what's in a block? Firstly, a pre-written overview is always helpful. Extend the claims, contextualize the impact. And then also in a pre-written block, you want to answer the arguments. You can use arguments you already made. For example, if in the 1 NC they read a bunch of case cards, you just want to read a bunch of case cards back at them. Is that a good strategy? No. what do you want to do? You read 8 minutes of case in the 1AC, right? You might want to use the 1AC to respond to some of the arguments they make in the 1NC. So you can type up quick analytics blocks beforehand to encounter the things that you think that you will be facing against. And take advantage of what? Closed evidence sets, right? So your case should be one, extremely prepared if you're apt. So the 2AC case part should be blocked out, especially if you have a closed evidence set, because you know exactly the kinds of things that people are going to be reading against you. Make sense?
Quick check, does everyone know what an overview is? No? Yes? No? Does anyone who know what an overview is, could you share what it is? Go ahead, Chris.
It's like a summary of pretty much everything you're going to be talking about.
Yeah, so it's a summary. So an overview for the, if you're the 2AC, an overview of the 1AC is a summary of the 1AC that extends or uses the evidence that you just read. So you summarize the 1AC and you use the authors that your partner just read.
So an overview, right? We'll go over that really quickly here too. So one question that we get all the time in overview is like, hey, should we be extending every single claim? Should we be reading every single tag that we read in the 1AC?
No.
Is that efficient? No. I would say limit your overview that you read to like 3 sentences, right? At minimum, your harms and how you solve them. That's it. Maybe inherency, but do you need to read inherency if like they didn't really challenge it? Is that going to win you the debate if you read 8 more inherency cards?
No.
No, right? So overview, 3 sentences. All you need. Minimum, harms, how you solve them, right? So, should you be extending every claim?
Go there. No. Wait. No.
So, what should
We really worked on that, by the way. So thank you.
That's where the majority of the presentation time went. So I hope you appreciate those animations.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. Other S? Well, I thought the zero was hits. Just HITF. Anyway, for this one though, I think it's relevant just to have this one up here, right? So in an overview, you would extend like your harms and solvency. If you're the 2AC, would you be extending that you're topical? In an overview in case? No. If they never brought up topicality, you don't need to have that you're topical in overview. Nor would you necessarily need inherency, maybe really briefly, but significant. But harms and how you solve them are the most significant parts in overview. 3 sentences. 3 sentences, every speech, I guarantee you, will win you a ton of rounds at the moment, even though only 30% of you will take my advice. Okay, great. So, again, easy work. 3 sentences at the top of every 2AC, 2NC, 1NR, 1AR, and if you're super pro, at the top of the 2NR and 2AR, literally just summarizing. Because as silly as it seems, sometimes we forget to read our own, sometimes we drop our own case. Sometimes we forget to extend an impact in the 1AR. If you have 3 sentences talking about what your impact is, and you have that at the top of every single speech on your case, you will never forget. And you will always have an impact in the video. Clear? Yes? Okay. Let's make a 2AC.
Yeah.
Oh.
Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
So can you write your overview at home, or does it have to be new every single time? At home. Yeah, that's part of block writing. Good job.
There are parts in the overview that you would write in a round, like maybe impact calculus, because then an impact calculus, you weight more than one thing, right? But you can write your half of the impact calculus at home. Everyone know what impact calculus? You know, probability, time frame, magnitude, etc. But you should also make your overviews a little adjustable. So make room for talking about not why your impacts are just so great, but also why theirs are terrible. Clear? So what we're going to do now is we're going to make a 2AC block for you on the screen using the worksheets, the wonderful worksheets that you all have put a ton of effort into, right? Okay. Three
fingers to the right. Other way.
I don't have a map. Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do I have on the left side? On everyone's left side, I have two documents open. Left side is evidence. On the right side is a speech file. So right here, we are going to make a 2AC block. We'll start with the dis end, right? So how do we straight turn a dis out again? You all have it in front of you.
Straight turn.
Okay, what non-unique card did we figure was the best? What are we using? Which card are we using? This one? This one?
Yeah.
Eric. Okay. 2018. What do I do? Copy. So is it, how do you copy paste?
Alright, so we're gonna teach you, if we're ever jumping a step, let us know, hey, I don't know how to copy and paste. For some of you, you're like, I know what that is. Some people may not know what that is. So
Okay. Yeah. So if you are working with a Mac, it's Command C to copy.
Yeah. PC, Control C. Yeah. Here I was able to just drag it because Vito's technology is superior and stuff. So I didn't even know I could do it. I just taught myself. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Okay. So if you got a PC, it's Control C and then Control V. All you're doing is copying from the file and then putting it on a document for your speech.
yeah, like you pretend that you're gonna highlight it, and then once it's all like that, then you do that. Control C or Command C.
Yeah. Awesome.
Cool. So to make this really clear to everyone in debate too, I'll write something up here like non-unique. There we go. Colon. Colons are nice. Okay. That was the joke. What else? What comes after the non-unique? Link turn. Which link turn did we use?
Read the evidence. What's the author's name? We just did this. What's the link turn evidence? Huh? Cavalry?
Cavalry. Cavalry. Cars. Okay. Great. What do I do now? Copy?
Copy.
What's the next thing?
Hey. Hey.
Oh.
Wow, we worked on that all night.
Okay. Oh, it says link turn there too. I don't even need that. Wow. Don't even need to add these. Look at that. Non-unique link turn. Is this all of our 2AC?
No.
What else do we have in a 2AC? What else are we blocking out?
Impact. No.
That's part, maybe.
Internal.
What are some other off cases that we'd be blocking against? CP, right? Which one was this one? What did we just make a block for? This ad, right? Oh, actually, yeah. Wait, we're missing a part. My bad. So after link turn, Precious, we had the, what's after link turn on this one? My bad.
You said
after the link turn, you said we're still on the hedge DA, sorry. Hedge DA, the no impact, right?
Yeah.
Which card was that? Did you write the author down on the worksheet? Oh, they didn't do it.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that.
Okay,
Alright.
it's cool.
Oh, what would happen if we forget if our block is incomplete and we only have uniqueness and link? We'll call it loops, right? So don't forget, that's for you to do at home. So Eric, can you just write impact?
Okay.
Insert impact card here and the analysis, like from the worksheet. So that's something for you to do at home.
So what's important here is that you answer the parts of the disad, but at the bottom, you're gonna explain why you win right? So the negative just said you lose because you end arms sales, which means you lose influence, which means China and Russia will fill in, which means they might start a war and because you might lose your spot. So if you're solving for influence, if you're proving the reverse, if you're proving that decreasing arms sales will actually increase influence, what are you preventing?
A war.
Yes, a war. So if you solve for influence, then you also solve for what happens if you lose influence?
Oh,
ahead,
hegemony.
Yeah, influence is hegemony, but if you lose it, if you lose influence, there'll be a war. If you increase influence, you prevent a
Alright, so what did we just make a block for, assuming that we had the great impact card that we don't know yet? Hegemony DA, right? So hedge 2AC. But that's not our entire 2AC, so we'll signify to ourselves some way that right now this is only the block for the hedge 2AC. What else would we be making blocks for? What else? What other off cases in the 2AC should we be covering and making blocks for? CB. Cool. What else? Say again? Security pay, but shared files right now. So Novice is working with CP and GA. Does the 2AC need case?
Yes.
You sure?
Yeah.
100% sure? Yeah, you do. Okay.
Yeah, you do, yeah.
Okay, right? And then here we have like an overview, impact, arms, solve everything, problems on Earth. Okay, that is some of the kind of stuff that you fill on your own time. But is everyone clear at least on the structure of how to make a block virtually? Yes? Okay. And then in other lectures you went over counter plan, you know how to answer it, DA how to answer it, we went over the DA again, how to answer it. Case, I told you to make a sick overview, 3 sentences, right? Okay. Yes?
I was gonna, yeah, it's kind of a dumb question, but there you go.
No.
Okay, a question for me,
There you go.
there you go. Yeah, so if, okay, let's say you're in the middle of a debate and they ask for your roadmap and all that, would you tell them that you're reading non-impact or you don't? Or is that just kind of part of it?
Good question. Good question.
Just case, CP, edge. If they have T, where does it go? If you're the 2AC and they read T, where do you read T? In the beginning. So where would it go here? So I have a sick T block. I'm still not tall enough, but right there. Yeah? Okay. We know how to make blocks? Okay.
There is a short